Vera Sharav, a professional law librarian turned public advocate for human rights, is the founder and president of the Alliance for Human Research Protection, which serves as an information resource, a public interest watchdog, and a catalyst for public debate, whose goal is to unlock the walls of secrecy in biomedical research and bring accountability to that endeavor. Vera has testified in front of Congress, I think most recently last week, right? And is very well respected. And I want to add a personal note, is Dr. Null, Gary Null, talked about Zyprexa papers, where when we were in United States District Court across the river in Brooklyn, Vera was there. She had copies of the Zyprexa papers, and right there in court, she refused to give them back because they were so important for protecting public health. Well, ultimately, they ended up going back. But you should read that transcript. And Vera is a true hero, and she's extremely brave. And I'm very pleased to introduce Vera Sharav.
Let me tell you that 25 years ago today, I organized a similar protest at the APA meeting in New York City. We were only 12 mothers. It was Mother's Day at that time. We were 12 mothers and 1 male. That particular meeting was the launching pad for clozapine, the first of the so-called atypical neuroleptics, which they call antipsychotics.
Louder.
The APA promoted the drug as a scientific breakthrough in the treatment of schizophrenia. Those drugs, though, as we all know now, and there are so many of them, the Zyprexa and Risperdal and Seroquel, and they keep on coming. Those drugs are both unsafe and untherapeutic. They have produced terrible, irreparable damage to the body and the brain of those who have ingested them for any length of time.
So true.
It started with schizophrenia. It is now being prescribed for little children and the elderly. They're killing them, and they know it. Because now, not just the Zyprexa documents, but all of these trials, the science, quote unquote, we see that it's corrupt. It's corrupted because it was all done for pharmaceutical marketing purposes. There are no cures in psychiatry. Even some psychiatrists have begun to turn back. A doctor who was one of the formulator of the DSM-4, the Diagnostic Manual, Psychiatry's Bible, so to speak, he had, in fact, helped launch the ADHD epidemic, and now he's doing a mea culpa. He's attacking the new DSM-5. As well he should, but he hasn't fully come through. In other words, when he hears me say it, then he gets very upset. Oh, no, psychiatry's wonderful. But he has written and spoken up against the new drugging and the new diagnoses that are being given to children. Essentially, the APA Diagnostic Manual, which is their practice manual, it is designed to increase the number of people who are diagnosed with a mental illness which can then be treated with drugs. The newest drugs, the most toxic drugs, the better. How long will this go on? I have to tell you that I am very happy to see a much bigger crowd than 25 years ago when we were just 13. However, at that time, we actually were able to barge in on the meeting. You can't do that anymore.
Nope.
You can't get near them, not 100 feet away. At that time, we could still do that and get some press to cover it. But they have gotten worse and worse and more daring, and have state agencies helping them the case of Justine Pelletier.
Louder for the back, please.
Give a name again.
The case of Justine Pelletier, Justina. That it should send shivers through the spines of American families.
Yeah.
This is a child who came in with a medical condition, was treated by a prominent physician at Tufts Medical Center. He recommended that the parents take her to Boston Children's Hospital because of intestinal problems, and he wanted a very special specialist to treat her. She was abdicated. She was kidnapped by the psychiatrist at the hospital and put into a locked psych cell. What right do psychiatrists have to abduct children? Well, I'll tell you what.
None.
Because the psychiatrists blamed the parents. They reported the parents as child abusers. And the Department of Children and Families came in and convinced a judge within 24 hours to remove that child permanently from the custody of the parents. That story needs to be told all over America.
Yes.
That child was given a cucked up diagnosis. I can't even remember the name because nobody even uses it, but it essentially means it's made up, it's in the mind. Well, the child is now in a wheelchair. They took her off her medicines, her therapeutic medicines, for which she was being treated. How long will this go on? How long will this go on? What we need is that every person in Congress should have a child at risk that way.
That's right.
They should be screened and drugged the same way as other children.
It's fixed so they won't.
Anyway, I'd like to give the floor to someone else.
Thank you.
Woo!